supplementary report. The first report was excellent. The supplementary report doubles down on what the first report said. And what we've seen here is cost savings, an opportunity for that in the millions and potentially much more. We've also seen that we could accelerate work and scheduling and be on time or even get things in advance, and something that we're all very focused on no matter what piece of infrastructure it is. Also, a competitive process is a healthy one. You get better outcomes when you have a competitive process. And what are we afraid of? Opening the market to everyone? How could we possibly be afraid of that? Limitations of four-day work weeks. This is not really how we move our city forward. So I believe in being open and inclusive. Madam Speaker, I can't hear.
Councillors, please. Okay.
I believe in being open and inclusive, not exclusive, the very opposite. And I'm really concerned that we are really limiting ourselves as a city, truly limiting ourselves as a city. Again, I don't for the life of me understand what we're so afraid of. I'm very concerned with this member's motion that we've plucked one group out, I certainly haven't done it, and placed them into the mix without any consultation, without any discussion. Where were those meetings? I was not aware of those meetings. I was not aware of any agreement. Where has this all gone down? I'm very concerned about that as well. So there is a framework in place. And with that framework, we have recommendations by our expert city staff that support this. Our expert city staff, we've got the best of any municipality right here in Toronto. And this is what they've placed before us. And you know what? There's all sorts of safety nets. The pre-qualification requirement process, et cetera, et cetera. So let's join 440 other municipalities who are going the open process. Now, they don't really have a choice, but let's join our other municipalities and proceed with staff recommendations, which I believe my colleague has moved. I just would summarize by saying I think this really, truly speaks volumes, what's happening here.
Thank you. Any further speakers? No? Okay.
You know what? I'll search for it.
Okay, go ahead, Councillor Perruzza. Councillor Perruzza, did you want to speak?
Sure. No, we're good. I'd be happy to. Speaker, I've been following this as it's moved sort of, from committee to council, and in talking to some of my my colleagues about it. And I have to tell you, it's not, this isn't a debate, about finances or potential savings or any of those things, because everybody understands that the numbers that are being bandied about probably aren't true in terms of what, if there might be some potential savings for us to basically, how do they say, opt in, as it were. It's really an ideological debate that has been foisted on us. It's kind of like an anti-union conversation. That's really what it's been about. It's about people sort of sitting around here saying, oh, geez, I don't want anybody telling me what to do. What we haven't focused in on in any of those conversations is sort of the nature of construction, how complex an industry it is, and simply the nature of the work. Like, how much does a construction worker make on average a year? You look at some of the hourly sums, and you would say, oh man, like if you inflate that out, it's probably about $100,000 a year for a construction worker. It's probably not. I mean, for a lot of them, there are rain days. There are hot days. There are cold days. There are windy days. And then there's some days when there's no work, because you're kind of in between jobs. So how much money does a construction worker make who's constantly in a dangerous setting, No matter how safe you try to make it, there's machines all around you all the time. There's big pointy nails on the floor around you all the time. You could step on any time. There's things that could fall on your head at any time, and you're constantly underweight. I look at some of my colleagues around here, and if they trained for a long time, they still wouldn't be able to do the work. You wouldn't. Because it's a tough slog. I look back at my own experience, for example. I remember as a young boy, my father coming home one night and talking about how they had to rappel outside, the outside of a building on these jacks, the shoring that were holding up the floors. Why? Because they were, I don't know, 4th or 5th story, and underneath they had the heaters, trying to heat the building, and they started to blow up. Boom, 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 boom. Fire and flame everywhere. That's the nature of it, right? And they grappled down and jumped on some stuff, and he came home that night. He's retired now. Steel shank in his arm. Shattered leg and ankle. Broken ribs. I remember going out to get him a special chair so that he could be laid up those weeks and weeks without work, without pay, and in a great deal of pain. So how much does a construction worker make? So we're going to sit there and we're going to have this ideological conversation about some potential little savings which are absolutely not true. You know why people work in a non-unionized environment? Because they get paid more money. They make more. Otherwise, you wouldn't get the employees there. You wouldn't get those guys to work for all these little fly-by-night operations who come and do your little jobs, abandon you without real qualifications if they were working for less money. Oh, unless, of course, they're here without appropriate paperwork. Yeah, we all understand that. Why do you think that most of the industry is unionized?
Thank you, Councillor.
Reflect on that. My time is out.
Thank you, Councillor Perruzza. Okay, that's it for the speakers. A vote. Okay, for vote on members' motion 851 first.
There's been no motions on that, right?
Recorded vote.
Live one?
The motion carries 20-4.
Motion one.
Motion 1. Recorded vote.
Yes.
Councillor Perruzza, please. And Councillor Pasternak, please. Councillor Pasternak, your vote, please.
The The motion carries 19 to 5.